Hello, my loves, and welcome to the Embrace the Madness podcast. It's your host, Madeline. And if you're just now joining for the very first time in your whole entire life, then hello and welcome. So, I hope everybody's been doing okay. It seems like every day's getting crazier, and it's almost October, but that still means that there's 2 months left of 2020. For me, it's just, I don't know. And I'm sure for everybody else, it's just been like one thing after another. And it's really hard to keep going. But somehow we're still here. And I think that's like the only thing I have to hold on to. So if you're if you're in it, I'm right there with you. And hopefully this episode kind of illuminates some things and helps you, and hopefully it helps me. And that's a cool thing about this podcast is I think I initially, like, at least I used to write blogs to help me process these things and kind of force myself to go places and explore certain like feelings that I had. And so I think the podcast helps me to just process and talk it out. And I feel like when I can talk things out, then it's like it's literally leaving my body and going out into the ether. And it's not like stuck and stored in my body anymore. So, yeah, let's just hope for a nice cathartic experience. At this rate, I'll try anything. Before I begin, I just wanted to give a huge shout out to all the lovely patrons that have subscribed to Embrace the Madness. And I literally couldn't do it without you. And your love and support seriously means the whole entire world to me. I want to say thank you to Christina, my mom, Jordan, Sarah, Monica, Lucy, Michael, Amy, Mackenzie, and Mariah. You guys are inspirational. I appreciate your support and I'm excited for this journey. If you want to join, then stay tuned for details. So, yeah, Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed, and that's kind of frustrating, at least like on a political level. And we are struggling to see that light at the end of the tunnel for our country. And shit's just getting weird. I just watched The Social Dilemma the other day, which is like about technology and social media and kind of the ethics behind it and how these companies are literally tracking our behaviors, and it's just fucking weird. So yeah, it's just like been this really weird energy that feels really heavy and uncomfortable, and not to mention like we're all having our own individual problems. And I'm just going through some stuff right now that's really bringing up a lot of deep-seated fears and emotions and shame. And it's just like really hard to find inspiration and motivation. And I don't like feeling like that. So I'm really just trying to listen and figure out what that means. It always sucks when it starts bleeding into everything else. So, like, I've been feeling really like uninspired creatively. Sometimes I have to force myself to either work on music or play around, and like that's not a good feeling. And I have been feeling like kind of like I don't feel like I have the energy to keep doing this podcast, which I'm like, okay, hold on. Whoa, 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 whoa. What's bothering you so bad that you feel like you are just gonna give up? And so that's kind of where I'm at. And yeah, it's just hard. And I feel like a lot of people don't like to talk about these times in their life because it's hard to kind of be proud of them and look how poorly I'm able to handle this, or just, that's where my brain's at. But I was thinking, surely I'm not the only one. And I feel like this is kind of a thing just of life. And we're going to have these ups and downs and these really lows. And it's important that we know how to navigate them so that we don't get stuck kind of in a loop. And so, even though I've been going through these really, 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 really hard, scary things, I'm somehow able to find hope and strength. And like I said, I'm still here. I'm still doing it. I'm not necessarily having the most fun, but I think that's okay. I was scheduling out some topics to talk about, and I had put believing in yourself for today. And like the more that I've thought about it and the more that I've kind of turned inward to my experience, the more I realize, okay, I need to talk about believing in yourself when you feel like you can't. And I think that is probably more abundant than just plain old believing in yourself. I think we all have some kind of like self worth things that are like deep at our core that we need to like figure out. But especially right now with the way that 2020 is and just the jobs and the loved ones and all these things that we've lost, and literally just like any semblance of normalcy, our realities are crashing. It seems like we're literally in doomsday forever. And at least know personally that believing in myself while all this stuff is going on is really, really hard, if it's even possible. And I'm learning it is possible. It's just really, really, really hard. So I just wanted to kind of share my perspective and let you know that if you're struggling finding your day, like motivation for the day, or having trouble believing in yourself and making it through, then yeah, you're not alone totally. And I think that's just like a theme right now. And I encourage you to kind of embrace that and look at it with a curious eye and listen to your body and listen to these feelings. So, I already struggle with believing in myself. And so I've been working on, improving that relationship that I have with myself and working on how I can find ways to believe in myself, period. Well, dealing with failure and dealing with mistakes, poor choices, bad decisions, whatever, especially right now, is like, it seems like it's like piercing like tenfold. And like everything, I'm just really fragile. And I feel like everybody's kind of on edge and everybody's fragile. And if you're not feeling fragile and you're feeling really strong, then I applaud you and I'm grateful that you can find those, like, that strength right now. And I know it's probably taken a lot of hard work. And so I just want to give you that. But if you are not feeling strong, it doesn't mean you're weak and it doesn't mean you are worthless. And at least I'm trying to tell myself that. So, but I mean, like, it's true. And I think it's hard for me not to self identify with mistakes that I've made. And so it's like you end up overwhelming yourself with self criticism and self judgment and yucky, yucky, yucky stuff. And so, at least over the past year or two, or how 6 months, I don't even remember, I've just been trying to fully engage with my feelings, probably like the last year, and just like completely be present with whatever experience is happening in my body. And doing that with the really uncomfortable feelings is like exactly that, just really, really uncomfortable. And it's been really hard. And I mean, I guess since I've never done it before, I'm trying to like make sure that I'm adequately sitting with my emotions long enough. And like some end up coming up, but for the most part, I think allowing myself the space to get really scared and get really full of fear and worry and like feel like I'm in immediate danger, like that's okay. That's okay. And that's something that I have to give space to and completely feel that. And I can't, at least I've just, it's like the longer I try to push it down or repress it or, oh, that's not happening or whatever, it's like it starts festering and it gets worse. And that's not good. And I always know like if something comes up that is kind of like a recurring theme, I'm like, okay, it seems like you need to go deeper and it seems like there's more under the surface that needs to be acknowledged. So, yeah, that's happening. And I'm not trying to attach any judgment to it because it's like not good and it's not bad. It's just what's happening right now. Um but I keep coming back to this thing like about choice and about how even though things seem really out of control and seem really far away and yucky, that we have the choice to we have the choice of how we're going to feel about it and how we are going to respond. And it's a hard choice for sure. I think, and at least I'm learning about myself, my default response to something really scary or weird is to like just freeze. And I don't want to I don't want to get out of that and or I don't want to be stuck in that. And I feel like when we first begin to experience like really heavy stuff, our default kind of defense mechanism is what is happening. And like I think it's okay the first time if we, freeze or and it's okay if it happens a second time too. I think it's an important thing to be mindful of so that we can be like, "Hey, this is how I responded last time and it seems like it's still an issue and it's still coming up for me." And so I believe that when you can be really mindful and be in that place of observing yourself and observing how you react, you can kind of intervene before the fear comes. Sorry, I'm like having to clear my throat when the weather changes. My allergies get really really intense, and so I've just kind of been doing that the last couple of days. So yeah, I am trying to move to this place where I'm realizing I have power in the choice that I make. And I can choose to dwell in these bad feelings and kind of reinforce those ideas of fear and worry, or I can choose to be grateful or choose to look at the bright side. And I mean, there's totally a fine line between ignoring the bad things and kind of dipping out of reality. But I also believe that if you were to choose whether to like look at the bad or the good, you're going to get the most benefits from looking at the good. You're going to get those really good chemicals in your brain, and you're just going to feel better about life, and it's going to be easier. And if you focus on the worry and the fear, then you're just kind of like creating that feedback loop of, oh, let's just pump my body with cortisol and really stress me out and give me more anxiety. And like, I've had to teach my body to not feed that feedback loop, because I think that's a default mode for me too, is just to like create these anxiety loops and just like never escape. And that's kind of where I've been lately, just feeding the anxiety loops. And it's like being aware of the way out, but not taking that route or feeling like I can take that route, if that makes sense. But like, the more I think about it, the more I remember that only I can figure this out, and only I can heal whatever's going on, and only I can get me out of this. So, I'm going to share with you like a couple of things that I've been trying to keep in my mind and keep in my conscious awareness on like a day-to-day basis, so that I can not fall over and not fall into the deep dark abyss that is anxiety and that is fear. And it's like every day it feels like it's about to happen, but I'm trying to remember that I'm here for a reason, and that I have special gifts that I have to share. And even if I make mistakes and poor choices, that I'm still powerful beyond belief, and I still have this duty to share my gifts and to share my love. So, if you have been feeling like this and you want some advice or just to listen to my experience or anything, yeah, just keep listening. You're like, oh, well, if I would have stopped listening, I would have done it before 18 minutes, but maybe not. Maybe you're like, oh no, I already know the answers. Bye. Um, so yeah. One is don't be afraid to feel. Two is gratitude. Ding ding, surprise. And three is focus on the good, or make a list, or focus, whatever. So yeah, the first one's pretty self-explanatory. Don't be afraid to feel. I know that these overwhelming and intense emotions can be really like scary to navigate, but I think where I'm coming from is just like I'd rather bite the bullet, get this over with, like experience it so that it can go to bed or go somewhere else and stop coming up in my life as like a recurring nightmare and things like that. And so, especially like I know for me, shame is just like a really heavy emotion that I have to experience. And I think the more that I push it away or pretend that it doesn't exist, it's like, I'm still here. So I'm trying to hear it and sit with it and listen to it and figure it out. And something that I keep trying to remind myself, the only way out is through. And so it is exactly moving through these emotions that we can find our way out, find solutions, and find new opportunities. And I think it's important to release a lot of these feelings, because if not, then they kind of stay in our body as tension. And if you forget about them, like if your muscle in your body like gets really tense and you never end up working out that tension or that knot, like it's just going to be a bigger knot. And I feel the same exact way with feelings and emotions and all of these things. So for me, I try to remember that. And even like joy and love, those are feelings from my body and my spirit too. But I think that these yucky ones are kind of like messages. And it's like our body saying, like, hey, this is a big deal to me. it's obviously triggering a fear response in me, I think we should talk about it. And definitely, if your feelings are really, really heavy, I think finding someone that you trust or a professional who can like set aside space to break it all down and understand it all with you, I think that's totally a viable plan. And if you feel like you are strong enough to experience these and kind of dive in, then I always find journaling really helpful. And for me, I think I write exactly what I'm feeling like. I feel really scared because blank. I am feeling frustrated because so and so didn't listen to me, or just things like that. Like, I'm feeling fucking afraid because I haven't had a job for 6 months. Like, you need to get to the root of these feelings so that you can, one, be aware that they exist, and two, figure out solutions to kind of ease that pain of the suffering and eliminate those negative beliefs from your life. And explore those. Explore that. What do you think you're learning from this? What do you think these messages are trying to tell you? Where do you think you got these ideas from? Why do you believe that? What do you think is the next step you can take? Things like that. Really just like, and if you don't like writing in a journal, I love pulling up Google Docs and just typing and typing and typing. I type faster than I write, and I feel like I can just completely brain dump and just get it all out. And that helps me so much. And like I said, like that's where my blog post started and really just like was a way for me to handle these really complex thoughts and ideas and feelings and stuff like that. Journaling's really powerful, and I'm sure you've heard me. If you're a regular listener, the artist way, the artist pages, I've been trying to get back into journaling every day. So it just really creates like and strengthens this relationship that you have with that voice inside your head or your higher power or your spirit. And it's really nice. So once you've kind of cleared the space to start believing in yourself and yeah, getting all those yucky, like gray, murky, la, la, la. I'm like thinking of water, but I'm also like not water. Once you can get these yuckies out, I find it super helpful to make a gratitude list. And I know they sound so cliche and so, oh yeah, just do this, just do this, just do this. But like seriously, focusing on the things that are good in my life and that I am grateful for really just shift the energy for me. And just, and it doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be like some really intense, complicated research paper of a gratitude list. Like, you can start small and just write one word things. I think it's also really helpful for me to kind of go from the basics. I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful to be breathing. I think a lot of times we get so wrapped up in our problems that we forget that we have shelter and we have food and we have resources and we have all of these things that so many people would be grateful to have, and we forget and take it for granted. And so really coming back to these basic fundamental things helps me to like, especially when things feel so fucked up and so bad, and it's like, well, at least I'm breathing right now. And as we've seen in 2020, like a lot of people didn't get to say that. We've lost so many family members and loved ones and relationships, and yeah, it's just this year has shown us that we can literally lose anything at the drop of a hat. And so we must be grateful for these things in our life that we're not entitled to. By focusing on these things that you're grateful for, you will actually create a response in your body to release chemicals, release oxytocin, make you feel these higher energy states of gratitude and joy and love. And I think that that will bring more joy and gratitude and love into your life. And at least that's where I've tried to come back to. And it's been helping and working in my life. And just, yeah, remembering the good parts. Um, yeah. And then if you're really, really struggling, make a list of all the good things in your life. It will force you to look at the good things. Like, even if your mindset is a little skewed and you're just like, everything sucks, this is bullshit, I hate this, blah, blah, blah. Take some time to make a list of good things. What are some good things in your life? And it's kind of like making a gratitude list, but also like, I'm still doing my podcast. That's a good thing. I have people, friends and family that listen to it and support me. That's a wonderful thing. I am still here doing my thing. I'm still working on music. Like, that's really good. And somehow I'm finding the strength to record this podcast episode. So that's a really good thing. And I could probably name like 10 things in 30 seconds that are bad right now in my life, but I just don't want to focus on that bad because focusing on the bad things, like, it's just like re-triggering me and reigniting these yucky feelings. Like, I've noticed if I think about these bad things, I'm going to feel anxiety all day and I'm going to feel really tired and I'm not going to feel like I want to do anything. And so it's really important for me to stay mindful of this and stay mindful of this pattern because I don't want to be feeling like that. That's the way I've been feeling, like, probably close to the last week. And it just gets old. And I'm just, yeah, trying to find the light again. And like, kind of like with before, like, focusing on these good things is just going to elicit, like, literally a physical response in your body. And the cortisol is not going to be running like rampant like it would be if you were having an anxiety attack. And the good is just going to bring more good to your life. This one is this last one is, I mean, it's working for me, and I think it's just because I understand my life to be kind of like part of this spiritual being, and I just kind of frame my life that way. And so if you do too, it's helpful to kind of look for that higher power, and you can be your own higher power too in your life. But yeah, no matter who, well, no matter what mistake I make or failure I bring, or like literally no matter what, I have to remember that I'm loved unconditionally, period. And my body is made of light and love and abundance, and nothing can ever take that away from me. And it's really hard to remember that when you are like deep, 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 deep in it. And so if you don't feel like you're in a place where you can just like say that and just like stand behind it, then that's okay. Like, it's really hard, but it kind of goes back to that idea of choice and remembering your power in that choice and choosing to remember these good things and remember these kind of growth oriented things when you're feeling like shit. And the way I make sense of it all, and it could be completely wrong or they could prove it false, or I don't know. You just have to find what makes sense to you and what works for you. And So, anyways, the way I see these, at least I'm trying to reframe it, these negative emotions is these kind of like how their messages, these are these intense things that the universe manifested through me to heal. And these things are specific to my healing, and it's important that I address them and overcome them so that I can get out of that repetitive loop and that cycle and create one out of love and compassion and heal these things so that they're healed. And I just totally want to say, like, doing all of these things isn't going to take the pain away immediately. And it's not going to immediately make things easier, but it is going to make things better. And it helps so that we can begin to start setting up this place of love and compassion for ourselves. And I think, like, at the end of the day, when you're scared and you're feeling like shit, well, one, you want someone to take your pain away. And two, like, you just want to feel safe and loved and heard. And I think the more we can do that for ourselves, the stronger we will become. And especially that relationship that we have with ourselves will definitely strengthen and will build resilience. And if we have another 2020 shit year, then we can all say, look, I made it in 2020. I got this. Like, it was really hard, but I grew to know myself and to love myself and to trust myself. And that's why I keep trying to come back to, even though 2020 has been like complete, like, what? Lit. But yeah, that's where I'm at. It feels nice having just recorded and said all that. And I appreciate you listening. Um, so yeah, if you've been feeling it, know that you're gonna be okay and you're gonna make it out. And this is only temporary, and you got this. Like I said, it's definitely not easy, and it's definitely not for the faint-hearted either. This is intense, and exploring your really intense, deep-seated fears and emotions is really intense. Like I said, if you want to do it and you feel afraid, find a professional, find someone that you love and trust. It's really hard though, because like building trust in others it takes time. So yeah, there's that. But I think that's all I have for this week. So have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to take care of yourself and love yourself and give yourself a big hug. And if you're going through it, just remember to breathe. Deep breaths really, really, really help. Yeah, I'm going to remind you that my Patreon's open and live. And so if you like this podcast and you want more than once a week, I actually do a bonus podcast on Fridays for my Patreon subscribers. You also get a postcard. And then if you want access to some guided meditations or a one-on-one call, then you can do an upgrade and you can explore that. But the link for anyone who needs it is patreon.com/embrace the madness. So if you have any questions, just reach out on social media and I will talk to you soon. Have a great rest of your day. Okay, bye. If you'd like access to more podcasts and a postcard each month, check us out on patreon.com/embrace madness.